Skewed Reality Podcast.
What's up? Welcome to Skewed Reality Podcast. This is episode 3, and I'm excited because this is my shit, and you would be excited if it was yours too. But I just wanted to drop some interesting and exciting news on you guys to start the episode off. Not only have I been accepted into iTunes as well as Spotify's directory for podcasts, but I've also been accepted into iHeartRadio. Now, I know that may not be a big deal to some of you guys, but that creates audience and user relevancy as well as accessibility. So I'm just super excited and grateful for those that have had their hands on my podcast, whether actively present and physical or at a distance, and have helped me in some way, shape, or form. I appreciate all my friends, family, and acquaintances for actively listening, giving me feedback, positive or negative, because I'm one of those people that, honestly, I really don't care what the hell you say or how it comes out of your mouth, but the message is what I'm always trying to be in tune with, and that message could either bring me up or it could drag me down. So, at the same time, again, positive or negative feedback or just an outlook on the episode, I've been super grateful. And as Kanye West already said,
they'd be the first one to judge me, make it feel like nobody loved me.
So there is a special place in heaven for those that take the time to support and love on those that are trying to elevate themselves in the game at hand. So, you know, you're forever remembered. And, you know, when I get to that level, I'm definitely not giving back to you niggas at all. But you will continue to tune in and listen. Caught you for a catch. On another note, I think it's important for you guys to remember this is specifically a podcast where we talk about life, love, sports, culture, and so many more topics. Whatever it is, there is no limit. My name is Bree, a.k.a. the Ego Bruiser, and this is a place where perspective meets reality. Now, before I jump in today's segment, I really want you guys to take a second and think about this, because this could be some crazy and outlandish shit that I just think of and kind of go off of. But in the fact of reality, do therapists think they know everything? So all of my therapists that may tune in, or people close or relevant to that career field, do you think that therapists know everything when we actually go and see them in that room? What's up? And the crazy thing is, I do understand that somebody could easily counteract with, oh, well, they've gone to school for years, so they're well versed in the knowledge of psychology or motive of human beings, so why wouldn't they be confidential people that are confident in their knowledge to change and fix? Well, that's not really the point that I'm coming from an educated standpoint. You know, regardless of age, I look at me and those that I've surrounded myself with over the years, and I do understand in our young age and even in our old age, I see people 50, 60 years old that act like 25 years old. And then I see 25-year-old that handle their business like they're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 and have been on this earth like they've done this already. So I'm not really speaking from the standpoint of being educated. But again, they're flawed, right? So when therapists are actually giving you feedback about these issues that you face, whether trauma, whether because you've faced a breakup with a boyfriend, or whether you're going through a divorce, or whether it's a situation where your family structure is not so good, or whatever the case may be, or maybe you're just trying to work through your relationship to see that the grass is not always greener on the other side, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel in the relationship that you've essentially taken years to build. I mean, it's not an overnight thing to spend years and years and months with people, just have to start over again. So that's why, you know, people go to seek therapy. But at the same time, I have to look at the credentials and the profile of the person that's really giving me this advice. To be honest, I would want it written up. How long have you been married? Have you gone to therapy before? Are you my color? And can you really resonate with the biases and trials and tribulations that I go through on a daily basis because I look the way that I do. And not that I want to put an emphasis on color, because there have been people of all races, creeds, sexes that have shown me the light, that everyone is not the same. And I think you guys should take that into consideration too. But I think this is an important component and aspect that we sometimes forget about. Most importantly, so I can make this matter subjective as possible, I have personally never seen a shrink. Now, do I think I could use one sometimes? Absolutely, because I'm human and I'm flawed. And I always am looking to grow and better myself and make myself a more wholesome human being. And to be honest, when we look at the relationship dynamics in any form, mentee and mentor relationships is a form of therapy. Having a good relationship with your family is a form of therapy. Hell, having a relationship with your corner store clerk in the neighborhood is a form of therapy. Because let me tell you, they'll hook you up when they see your face 20 times millions over when you're in there buying all the calypsos and whatever else the hell y'all buy. But truly, if you really want to know why I'm going on this rant and wondering and trying to pose this question to the world, do therapists think they know everything? I'm thinking about the relationship that I've cultivated with my grandmother over the years, right? And I remember growing up and knowing her. And like I was telling you guys in a previous episode, that's my heart. Like, she could do no wrong and she would be still the main staple in my life. But looking at that dynamic, I know that my grandma keeps it 100 with me. Like, any and everything, she's going to tell me the truth of the matter. And she's going to be like, look, Bray, that's not right. Whatever you choose to do with your life, you know, is your life. But I'm not going to have a good taste for it. But again, it's your life. You know, she has that aspect where she keeps it 100. Overall, that's the beauty in having personal therapy relationships. How many goddamn therapists you think you would know or could think of that would be like, hey, I'm not really familiar with that topic. Let me get back to you, or let me consult somebody else that would be more well-versed, or I'm not really too fond of that. Like, more or less, they just have to be a sounding board, which is, could be a waste of money, could be a waste of your time. And time is the most valuable thing that you can never get back. More or less, and regardless of which way this argument swings, I just wanted to create something that you guys can think about on another level, right? In society, it's like we're automatically supposed to be trained to do these things, right? Seek therapists and be okay with confiding in a stranger that we don't know from Adam that could give us this great new and grand perspective about life. This thing that's a game that you have to navigate daily, that throws obstacles and has so many successes if you can envision yourself in the right place. But let's just end it here. Again, I'm curious. Do you think, as an audience, as a listener, that therapists know everything? I don't know. Like I said, I've never been to see one. And to be honest, I found that podcasting and having this platform has been my own form of therapy. And so to kind of circle back around to the therapy that I've been going through with myself, my growth, my vision, and really where I want to be at the end of the day, I feel like I've been sounding a little cynical as of lately, right? I listened to my last 2 episodes and I was like, damn, you're coming off kind of harsh. And to be honest, there's very few people that have been able to keep it realer with myself than myself. So this is an awesome reflection tool to be like, hey, I should censor myself here. Or actually, on this platform, I actually shouldn't censor myself at all, because if I'm not going to be my full creative form, then I shouldn't be doing this, because I should be able to be vulnerable. I should be able to say what the hell I want, you know, and you understand within a respectable guideline that everyone has an opinion. And just because I say it doesn't mean that it's the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I'm not God, but I do now use this as a reflection to look at myself about what I can do and say better, and also get my message across to better resonate with people, because I do desire to connect myself to the world in a deeper form. Like Jay-Z said,
I'm trying to free the world. That's how deep I'm in.
And I'm sorry to make all of these hip-hop musical reference, but I've truly come to a place where I do believe that music, no matter what language it's spoken in, it's universal because it's something about that beat that just takes us there and we can feel it in our soul and our beings and connect to whatever race, culture that is giving us this sound, right? So I want to switch it up now because this is all going to intertwine with the therapy, with the topic of changing and morphing and always elevating and reaching ourselves. We got to talk about my boy Kanye. So just know we are definitely about to switch it up. But just to leave you guys on the question and topic of do therapists think they know everything? Please tweet me at skewed_podcast. Reach out, follow my Facebook, like the page, Skewed Reality Podcast. My Instagram is BrieXBond, okay? You can see some behind the scenes and things about my podcast and about myself as the host. Last but not least, you should be taking the time to visit my website, skewedrealitypodcast.com. That's right, it's original, it's legit, and now we about to switch it up. So the canceling culture, as you can imagine, is very real, especially around a guy like Kanye West who draws so much fucking controversy that it's unreal. Like the time when he jumped on stage and was like, yeah, Beyonce had the best video of all time, so fuck you talking about Taylor Swift. I mean, I was kind of actually entertained and enjoyed that one. I mean, a white woman that comes into the game and is new is winning over a fucking queen who has made a mark in history and continues to be relevant and proactive in her community. I mean, I'm going to give her the award all day before I give Taylor Swift. Now, again, that may be slightly biased because I'm not exactly a Taylor Swift fan. I mean, she's a different genre of music that I wouldn't say that I wouldn't listen to, but I'm not going to listen to her specifically. Besides being entertained by his rude stage interruption, I'm going to have to go with the L on this one. He definitely had to take an L when he said that 400 years of slavery was a choice. Now, Kanye, you got to hold the L for your opinion because you didn't live in that time or era to attest to the mentality and state of which slaves, how they were living and what they should do. I wasn't there at that time to be like, yeah, they could have ran away and threw everybody and fucked the whole system up where they could have been the ones in power instead of the ones being utilized for labor-intensive things. I don't know. I wasn't there. I just know what history has taught me and what I've read. And what I've read, there was a lot of abuse. There was a lot of mind and games and manipulation connected to the confines of religion. And, just over time, you're trained to be mentally weak when you are born into a system of oppression naturally. Okay? So it's different when you're born into a system of freedom and then you become oppressed. It's a different mindset versus being born into oppression and trying to have a mentality that can grow outside of that box. So how can you tell somebody that's never experienced freedom that they're supposed to overthrow and not be in the condition and the state in which they live? I don't know. But just moving on, he had to hold that L with that comment. And then the last thing that kind of intertwined with all of his skewed and know-it-all thoughts gave way to the birth of trying to make America great again a different meaning. Yeah, I was a little bit confused by that myself. I mean, I see the opportunity to try to navigate your way into government. Kim Ye, both of y'all. But at the same time, we had already been the opposed group in that slogan to begin with. So it's that hard. We couldn't quite digest that one. He really was off his rocker with that. But now I'm kind of taking a turn on Kanye. I'm really thinking about him in a different context after I heard this new album that he dropped called Jesus is King. And not that I'm just this, holy ass Christian or something. You mean, you hear me on the mic, right? I'm nothing close or comparable to that. But people can change. People can be rebirthed. People can grow. I just experienced this and it's like an epitome. People still hang on to things in the past and expect you to remember them in the way that they do and hold a grudge against you for things you don't even know they're holding a grudge against you about. So, all the diminishing and tarnishing that we've done to Kanye's reputation, I get it. But who's to say that he can't come back? So I was really disappointed in the audience and engagement of this album. Oh, we're canceling him because now he's incorporating Jesus into his music. It's a fake hate. It's this, it's that. I hear you. I really, 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 really do. But after listening to some of the content, I was really, really surprised. Not only by the delivery, because, Kanye just makes classic after classic, right? But more or less the message and the content. It was legit. It felt real. It felt genuine. And I was like, okay, this nigga's for real. Maybe he did find a balance in his life. Maybe Kim was that. I don't know. I don't want to really, I'm not TMZ. I don't want to touch on their relationship. More or less, I'm looking at the ability to evolve as a human. Maybe he did get regulated. Maybe having a family did even him out. I don't know. Maybe medication, seeing the right doctor, psychologist, whatever. Again, being a Christian, being rebirthed, looking at it through the lens of spirituality, not necessarily religion. I think it's possible. And again, I would give, the album out of a 10. I'm going to give it, a 7.5 to 8. It was decent. It was solid. He had Fred Hammond on there. He had Ty Dolla $ign, and I've never heard Ty Dolla $ign in that format. And so I was really surprised that it meshed so well. And then it made me look deeper into Ty Dolla $ign as an artist. So it was a lot of exposure. And I'm not going to say it's a classic because, again, a reference to Jay-Z, you can't listen to an album in a week. You can't listen to an album in 24 hours and try to deem it a classic. A classic is born and proclaimed that over time. Music can stand the test of time, but it has to be something special. It has to be memorable. So right now, I'm not going to call it a classic. We might, because of the backlash that he's received, I can guarantee this is probably going to sit on the back shelf. But surprisingly, I do believe in change. And I believe maybe that for him, Jesus was that light. Whether you believe in Jesus or Allah or Buddha or, hey, some people have to use a tool higher or outside of themselves to motivate them to be better people. I use it in several contexts. Like I said, I'm Christian. I grew up. I believed in Jesus Christ and all of those things. But in the same token, I grew up and I learned my own things and collected a sense of spirituality. Living in a realm of peace, staying away out of trouble. It's a certain way to live life. I'm not saying it's a yellow brick road. I'm not saying I have all the answers. But you can't avoid certain things by not making certain decisions. And I think one of the greatest things that I've ever heard as of late that kind of touched me is it's okay to make mistakes. There are such thing as bad decisions, though. Everything is not a mistake that you make. There are fucking bad decisions. Like, again, the most extreme bad decision that you can make and saying that's going around is if your friend jumps off a cliff, are you going to jump off that cliff too? No, not necessarily when you put it in that context. But who's to say I won't follow them because they're doing a drug that makes them feel good? So they've convinced me that this drug can make me feel good. And I'm not going to die in the process, right? So, it's different contexts and ways to think about being a follower. I think the most important part of all of this is understanding that I emphasized understanding Jesus as a spiritual being and what they can do for your life. I didn't say Christians because actually in this album, he's like, what have you been hearing from the Christians? And it's like, it feels like it's an attack on Christians, but really you have to think about Christianity and which they indoctrinate people to believe certain things. And I think Kanye West is really trying to emphasize not only that he's changed, but that you can instill the same morals and values into different methods of a message. simply put. So it's really complicated, but like I said, it's really great, and I'm not going to cancel him because he's incorporated Jesus or a spiritual sense into his music. It was cold. Follow God is one of the coldest tracks on there, so stop playing. It was interesting because when I was looking at artist comparison, as I just already tweeted earlier this week, I was cracking up when they were like, I can't believe Kanye West is doing this. He's this. He's that. He's that. Okay, well, Kanye can't make an album about Jesus, but nobody cries when Snoop Dogg, the OG weed blowing, sipping on gin and juice Mongol makes gospel album. Like, didn't we just hear a gospel album from Snoop? And he was the most heralded guy that I had ever heard about in hip-hop for a long time. I mean, just because he's dope like that, I get it. But he was sipping on gin and juice. Oh, yeah. I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Like, as sinful as that is to drink and think about money and this and that, if you guys are going via the indoctrinated ways of thinking, he was allowed to rebirth himself. Come on here. So it's like, we seriously gotta be fair. I'm sitting here cracking up because, like, I know Snoop Dogg is in y'all top 5. I know he's in y'all top 5 rappers. If we were to name these niggas right now, and y'all gonna shit on Kanye like that after all the classics that he's made and he's made a rebirth, Snoop Dogg did the same. As guess when niggas get old, they just turn to Jesus. Let's just categorize it as that. Let's be real. But anyways, truly, honestly, I think it's safe to say that we've been a little one-sided in this argument. Now, if you can counteract and somehow convince me that we have not been, well, go for it. You know what to do. I've dropped my socials. I'm not scared. I'm right here. To say the least, I'm actually kind of rooting for dude at this point. I hope he takes his ploy or facade or whatever you guys try to deem him to be doing with his own life, in which we are not there to actually view and judge. I hope he takes it there. I hope that nigga actually runs for president. They're all up in the government. I mean, he utilized his wife as a tool, and hey, they got some geniuses behind the scenes there. I hope Kanye takes it there on you guys. He owes that to the public. Run for president. You know how I told you in the last episode, I would not vote at all. I've done up to this point, I've never voted. If Kanye runs for president, I might actually vote for that shit. Like, not even gonna lie to you. I mean, of course, I got to see what his values, morals, and all these other things is that they put on. And everybody has a different way of delivering their content. So, when I take that into consideration, you could still win me over. But, yeah, I might vote because that would be some crazy next level stuff. So in the most comical sense, don't quote me on any of this because this is just my theory, my educated guess. And I also wanted to kind of add that I feel like Kanye has kind of maybe gotten in touch with his dad, or did he have a relationship with his dad? I don't know. But I kind of felt some significance to the song Follow God. I was listening and backtracking, and this is what I heard. I was screaming at my daddy told me he did Christ-like. Like, okay. Was this recent? Was it in the past? I'm kind of getting the sense that, his father is present or was present as well. And it's also gotten back in touch or in tune with who he should or need to be. So I'm going to leave this rant alone because I could go on forever. But I really just wanted to be passionate and on top of this topic because I thought it was unfair that Kanye is going through this scrutiny for something that's been so representative of positivity, power, and self-control, which has always been Jesus Christ, right? It was important that I bring this segment back. And you guys may know what that is from the first episode, but this is called Stupid Questions That Need Stupid Answers. So I was scrolling earlier and I was on CNN, and I love just reading news and knowing what's going on in the world. And I came across this article asking, are Apple's non-binary emojis a step in the right direction? Yeah, I kind of scratched my head for a moment because seriously, out of all the things that we could be covering, what's going on in politics, what's going on in sports, leaders, movement, change, wars, sickness, help that is needed around the world and that is happening. Hell, the fucking impeachment is going on, or the process thereof. And you're worried about if Apple's non-binary emojis are the step in the right direction. Are we that fucking thirsty for representation as humans, where we have a news article on a major conglomeration talking about emojis in the step of the right direction? Huh? Representation is that serious? Where we have gays and homosexuals plastered all over the wall, knowing the psychological effects of how that influences people. Let them make their own choices. It doesn't need to be displayed. Now we're talking about non-binary, not naming him, her, them, they, whatever basic pronouns that we've always learned in school. I'm not saying that those, under those circumstances or categories or whatever you deem yourself, should not be represented, but I don't think it's newsworthy, especially not emojis. I do apologize if this is an important aspect of your life that you would love to be covered. But when I think about news, I think about things that are traumatic and life-changing. Hell, it could even be happy or celebratory of something that someone's done to impact their community or change the world or change their family's lives on an individual level. And emojis is just not one of those things. I'm glad Apple has decided to expand their spectrum of visualizations of what people can and should be and are entitled to be. But I cringe a little bit inside when I see articles like this gracing the public internet. Ugh. So being an asshole by nature, naturally I'm going to say, I really could care less about your non-binary emojis, but thank you. We appreciate you. Well, I'll say I appreciate you. I'm talking for myself and not others, really. I mean, let's cover some more fundamental things like the cost of your phone that probably only takes $20, $30 to build in the first place. And I tell you guys, the study of economics and supply and demand is crazy, and we want to sit here and talk about emojis. And this is why we are one of the dumbest countries to ever exist. There's third world countries outbeating us educationally. I'm not going to name those. This is not a teaching lesson right now. I'm just saying, do your own research. I've done it. And I wouldn't be saying it if I wasn't confident in it. But regardless of the fact, I just want to move on, wrap up the show. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, of course, always. And feel free to tweet me at skewed_podcast. Do me a favor, follow, like my Facebook page. Follow me on the gram. Page is Bree, BREEXBOND, Bond. And again, please subscribe. iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. The podcast is fucking out now. Do that. I love when you guys give me feedback. It's amazing. And I know that I'm engaging my listeners to a new level. And I can take you there and we can go on this journey together. If you have a podcast that you would love to share, please drop it on my socials. I'm looking to support fellow, local, national podcasters as well, because you guys have been doing a great job of supporting me. So I appreciate all the love shown. Top right now that I've been listening to, Wise Words from a Stubborn Man's, my dude Saha Cool. He's a guy that I went to school with. Amazing, charismatic, funny, and most importantly, crazy stupid. Trifling but true. I just ran across randomly on Spotify, and these girls are absolutely insane. Jade Alexis, Asia Monique, Lori Taylor, and last but not least, Duke and Kibbles Untitled. You guys got to follow it. It's right now on my Spotify. I'm tuning in. I'm listening. I hope to hear from you guys soon. Definitely looking forward to doing something crazy on next episode. Also, I'm looking to build a giveaway of some sort to keep you guys tuned in to what's going on. So I'm out.
Peace.